Hello, Augies Worldwide. I'm Dave Kassler, KE0OG, here with another episode of Ask Dave. Today's question comes from Bill, N4DM, Delta Mike. And he has a question that I've been asked many times. But before we answer that question, I'd like to pay special thank you to Dave Puckett, W5ODP, for being one of my newest patrons. If you would like to become a patron supporter of this channel, go to patreon.com/KE0OG. So, back to Bill's questions here. He wants to know if he can use my videos in some training. And the answer is almost always yes for that. He says, our small ham club offers VE services every other month. And that's great, because that's the first step for bringing people into ham radio. One of the issues with new hams is that they tend to view passing the test as an end goal. It's not an end goal. It's the beginning of something. It's like when our first baby was coming along, we studied the Lamaze class, we studied all kinds of books on preparing for birth. And we got through that fine. And then we are presented with this baby, we take it home and go, now what? You know, we were preparing for having the baby as an end goal. Well, that was the beginning of a 40-year relationship with Jonathan. Okay, it really was the beginning. I mean, we were not prepared for what came after. Fortunately, my parents were nearby, and my mother helped out a lot, and John didn't die, so we're in good shape. Okay, Dave, he says, we allow the successful test takers to fend for themselves. This is really hard for the test takers. And he says, and many never follow through and get on the air. The ratio is something like 7 to 1. Out of 7 new hams, about 1 gets on the air. We need to be better Elmers. In that regard, we plan to start Elmers at Baldwin County Amateur Radio Club activity. We plan to use Zoom as our information highway, and so it only seems natural to use your many excellent ham radio videos, thank you, by the way, as part of our syllabus. And further, it seems only proper that we get your permission to do it. Well, absolutely, you may. Now, there are a couple caveats on that. As you do your presentation, please use the videos directly from YouTube. If you put the videos on your website, use the YouTube embed code. Let me show you what that means. Let's go to my studio here, and we'll pick one. Okay, let's look at this shortwave antenna. Let's go down here, content, go down a ways. Have you thought of a disc cone? Okay, to see right here, if we were to play this video, actually it plays from up here. Yeah, that doesn't work. Here we go. Okay, now, in the video, it says share, right here, share. Okay, click on share, and it gives you several ways to do it in a post, embed, WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, email, so on and so forth. And click on embed. And what it does is it gives you some code right here, an iframe, all right? And what you do is you copy the code, and then you go to your web page and put that in, okay? And then what that does is when it plays the video, it's actually playing on YouTube. And then that way, I get credit for the views and things like that, which is very important for a YouTuber to get all that stuff sorted out and straight. But I'm not going to end here. I would encourage you to do more. Now, I realize you're a small club with limited resources, so none of this is mandatory, but I want to give you some ideas that have worked in keeping new hams in the hobby getting them active, and getting them to the aha moment when they realize that this is the kind of hobby they really want to get involved in. First of all, a net, a weekly net. A net on the air where everybody who has just gotten their new radios can get on the air, either on the repeater or locally on Simplex, and just get on the net. They're usually on Sunday evenings, 7 or 8 o'clock, something like that, local time. And what you do, the secret to the net, that nets don't have to be terribly complicated. I actually ran a net once with a bunch of brand new hams. Just tell us your favorite color. It's not important what you talk about, but what's important is that they talk, okay? Because this gets them past mic fright. And then, furthermore, you have a script for the net, and then you pass that around so all the new hams can take a turn being net control. You may have to do a little hand-holding by going to the ham's house and helping them get on the air and helping them through a net setting. You would not believe the power involved in that first press of the push to talk button, and nets are where you can do something about it. You can start out by providing general information, upcoming events, and so on, and then you go around to each person. Hello, Dave. The question of the week is, what kind of antenna do you use? And that allows the person to do more than said, oh, I don't really have anything by, but gets them to talk. The other thing I want to mention is activities. Multiple times a month, things like fox hunts, which are eternally popular with everybody, especially the kids. Kit building. There are a lot of very simple little kits that are designed to be used for kit building workshops. I've got one that just makes 2 lights blink in one after the other. They go back and forth between the lights. It looks like a little railroad crossing. And something like that that's easy to build makes a great Saturday morning activity. Not Saturday at 7 a.m., but Saturday at 10 a.m., please. I'm asleep at 7. Okay, visits. Visits to places, tours. For example, call your local power company and say, I've got a group of technical people interested in radio. We'd like to look at your radio dispatch facilities, or understand the parts of an electric substation, or something like that. And then they can go there and visit it and see the technology that lies behind the scenes of our modern living. When I was with a group of kids, we actually went out to Denver International Airport and got a chance to go look in their radio room. Of course, they've got dozens upon dozens of radios for the various frequencies to talk to the pilots and so on. We actually got a little tour of the Air Route Traffic Control Center. We didn't get to go into the tower because they were quite busy. But if you have an airport like our Grand Junction here, there are times during the day when it's not very busy. And to have a few well-behaved adults come in, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 at a time, and see what goes on in a control tower would be a fascinating thing for new hams. So activities are very important. Now I'm going to go a little further here and talk about speaking. Get these hams up in front of people. I remember attending a presentation given by a new prospective ham who is now our club treasurer, and John gave a presentation of how to build a magnetic loop receive antenna. And he had researched this out carefully, found the parts, made the antenna. It was receive only, and he showed how he made it and demonstrated it to us, and it worked fine. Now, it was interesting during that presentation because he kept locking up, okay? And so I would ask him gentle softball questions. Where'd you get the copper loop? How did you find that little transistor? He says, well, he took a transistor radio apart. And I just sort of walked him through about 5 minutes of the presentation. Well, he was so encouraged by that, he gave another presentation after he got his license, I think, on different kind of tapes used in ham radio. And one of those kinds of tapes turned out to be exactly the kind of tape I was looking for a specific application. So I got information I could use, plus he had a chance to get up and talk again. Your club meetings, all of them, should include programs, interesting programs, and I really recommend you do the program first. And then take a short break for refreshments, and then have your business meeting after. And those who are interested can stay, otherwise let the board do the running of the club. Okay, so there's a few ideas for you of what you can do with your new hams to increase retention. Obviously, the person was interested enough in ham radio to go through the book, learn the questions, learn the technology, and pass the test. And they're proud of what they did. But they don't know the next step. You're going to have to handhold them until they get their general, and maybe they can start acting as VEs themselves and helping other people get their technician. It rolls along generation to generation of these hams. So there you have it. If you would like to help support this channel financially, you may do so. Go to dcasler.com/support. And until we next meet, 73.